Hi guys, the Middle Maniac back again, and so a while ago I uploaded a video where I listed off my top 10 favorite guitar solos, and in this video I'm going to be listing off my top 10 favorite guitar riffs. Actually I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I kind of there are so many guitar riffs that I absolutely love that it took me a long time to narrow it down to just 10. Pretty much the same thing with my other video of my top 10 favorite guitar solos. Um, yeah, so with that, let's begin. At number 10 is the main guitar riff from the song Cryptic Realms by Massacre. Of course featured on their first album. This guitar riff, it's interesting because actually kind of like the guitar riffs in majority of the album. The guitar riff on Cryptic Realms is very groove laden, very thrashy, and very catchy. Which at the time of 1991, a lot of that kind of old, very thrashy death metal guitar riffs weren't really that prevalent. Because like a lot of that, yes, late 80s, 87, 88, and 89, that was very common. Whereas like 91, not too common. So it's very interesting that this album From Beyond has that kind of more thrashy guitar riffs, and this particular one on this particular song, so it's very special. Like I don't know, it's just something about the way it integrates so well, or the way that the way that the drum sound is integrates so well with the actual guitar riff to the point where they're paired together, and it just is even better than if it was just the guitar riff alone. So the guitar riff works very well with the drums so perfectly that it's just amazing. I really love it. And I love how the guitar riff is pretty chaotic as well. Catchy but chaotic. But yeah. The main guitar riff from the song Cryptic Realms by Massacre is at number 10. At number 9 is the main guitar riff from the song Howling Furies by Anthrax from their first album, Fistful of Metal. Compared to every other song on the album, the Howling Furies is a pretty slow song. Not to say that it's a slow song when you actually listen to it itself, but it is slow when compared to the rest of the album. And the riff itself is very catchy, very simplistic, but very catchy, and all around just so memorable that it'll get stuck in your head, and you'll be humming it along for pretty much the entire day after you listen to it. It's just so good, and I absolutely love it. Alright, number 8 is the main guitar riff from the song Animal Fuck Like a Beast by the band Wasp. Now, Wasp, especially on their first album, has some amazing guitar riffs, some very just amazing and catchy guitar riffs. That it was really hard to choose just one, but I had to go with the one from Animal because it's probably the catchiest. Yeah, it's not the most it's not the most intricate. It's not the most, fancy, but it is the catchiest, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just really good. I love, like, how it is, like, it's interesting, because kind of like with the guitar riff from Cryptic Realms by Massacre, the guitar riff on Animal Fuck Like a Beast by Wasp, it fits so well with the actual drumming, and they integrate so well together in terms of sound, to the point where you can't have just the drums and the riff separate. It doesn't sound right. So I love that. I love that it's catchy, and I love that it works so well with the drums. Um, yeah. At number 7 is the guitar riff, the main guitar riff from the song Candles by the band Halloween from their album Horror Fire. Now, which actually I have right here. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I finally got the CD version, so now I have both the vinyl and the CD. Anyway, the song "The Candles" itself is basically leftover from songs leftover from a couple of songs that they were gonna put on their second album that was originally supposed to release in '86 but didn't, and then they released their I guess their second album, not their a different album as their second album than their second album they initially released as their third, but um it's immediate from the not just everything about the song and the especially the guitar riff that this is a song that wasn't originally supposed to be on the fourth album but ended up being there because it didn't have enough room on the album it was supposed to be on. And with that said, even though the song itself doesn't fit, it's still really good. And that riff just really, if you listen to it, after you listen to the songs before it and you get into the song, as soon as that guitar riff kicks in, it really just reminds you of how good the first album is, and the third album, which again is supposed to be the second, how good their earlier stuff is, as well as this album. It's just a guitar riff that really gets you like in the mood for the album. Even like especially like if you're like not really in the mood beforehand, but you want to get in the mood, this guitar riff will really get you in the mood for the album. It's just super catchy. Again, it works very well with the drums. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Um. At number 6 is the opening guitar riff from the song Evil Dead by the band Death, from, of course, their first album, Scream Bloody Gore. Yeah, the main riff is good and all, very catchy, but I have to give my appreciation a lot more to that opening riff, because that opening riff is actually a pretty, it sounds not like an epic, like it doesn't make the song sound like super epic or anything, but epic enough to where it distinguishes itself from the rest of the songs on the album, because I don't think that if they didn't have that opening riff in the song, it would be as great as it is. I mean, yeah, it would be pretty good, but not just amazing. I think that opening guitar riff just adds so much atmosphere to the actual song itself. Um, it's just so good. I just absolutely love it. Um, but yeah. At number 5 is the main guitar riff from the song Tormentor by Slayer. Of course, from their album Show No Mercy. This song itself, not only just the song itself reminds me so much of early Iron Maiden, especially with the song, especially reminds me of the song Killers. And I think that's what they were going for, really. Just like I guess that was one of their inspirations for the song itself. Um, but it's just a very unique riff. It's very catchy. I wouldn't say it's super lighthearted, but it does have sort of I guess like a sinister but cheesily sinister, sort of almost fun type vibe to it. But yeah, it's just a really awesome riff. And I love how it transitions from the actual riff to the chorus. No, I mean, yeah, the chorus is with the riff, but also transitions from the riff to the end section of the chorus, all the way to the guitar solo. I just love the transition. Like, it's just a very smooth transition from riff to solo. Um, and I just love it. Yeah, at number 5. At number 4 is the midpoint guitar solo, not guitar solo, but guitar riff in the song Wings of Funeral by the band Morbid. Now, this guitar riff isn't a main riff, isn't an opening riff. It's sort of a riff that pops up in the middle, near the middle of the song, right? It's a little bit before the solo, before the guitar solo pops in. And, it's super catchy. Like, you wouldn't expect it from, like this kind of band, but actually, yeah, I guess you would, considering it's not full-on early black metal. It's sort of a mix between early black metal, early death metal, and a little bit of thrash as well. So I guess it's not that unexpected that this kind of riff would be in here. But it's just so catchy. I love it. It's brutal without having to be too heavy. But it has that catchy nature of early death metal and thrash metal type guitar riffs. It's just so good. But yeah, the midpoint guitar riff from the song "Wings of Funeral" by Morbid is at number 4. At number 3 is the opening guitar riff from the song "Jugulator" by Judas Priest, of course, from their album Jugulator. Now, yes, I guess some people could technically point out that it's not, I guess, technically speaking, not the opening riff, because the opening to the album is sort of ambient noise before the actual riff kicks in. But I consider it an opening riff. I love how it's part of the thing that builds up the tension to the actual song itself, on the actual title track. I love how it starts very sort of like a faint and very sort of slow. Then it builds up and builds up and builds up. Then it goes into the main section of that particular opening riff, and it's very heavy. It's a very, very heavy, and it adds it has a whole lot of atmosphere to it. And honestly, it's probably one of the I wouldn't say catchy, but one of the most atmospheric guitar riffs in all of Judas Priest. It just has such a very dark atmosphere to it. I absolutely love it. But yeah. At number 2 is the main guitar riff from the song "Killers" by Iron Maiden, of course, from their album Killers. This is a very fun, energetic, and catchy guitar riff. Especially because of Dave Murray. Like, Dave Murray's guitar playing is awesome, and he does a lot of, not only just awesome guitar solos, but also some really awesome guitar riffs. Probably the most catchy guitar riffs are Dave Murray guitar riffs. In that weird sort of thing he does in a section of the riff, that is just not really a proper section of riff. It's sort of just the thing he does, where he sort of like bounces his hand down along the stock of the guitar, that creates this sound. It's not a proper section of guitar riff, but sounds so good. Now, with the cover song by, of course, the band Fatal Embrace did a cover of Killers. Now, they took that section of the guitar riff and made it into a proper section of a actual proper guitar riff. And even though they slightly made it slightly different, it still sounds very, very good. Like, it's something that you can make into a proper guitar riff if you want to do a cover version, and it still sounds good. It doesn't sound like it's like weird or anything. Like, it doesn't sound like it's out of place if you turn it into a proper riff. But it's just super good, and it's actually a very unique thing too. But yeah, it's just so super. Like, the guitar riff is super fun, super catchy, and just super energetic, and I love it. And at number 1 is the main guitar riff from the song "See You in Hell" by Grim Reaper, of course, from their album "See You in Hell." This is probably the catchiest Grim Reaper guitar riff ever. Like, they would come close. Like, other guitar riffs in their album, their third album, actually come pretty close to being the catchiest. but like still the first song on their first album has the catchiest riff they've ever done, and it is fun too. It's super catchy, super fun, super energetic, just like with Killers. Um, but yeah, so that's it. That's my list of my top 10 favorite guitar riffs. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.